Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to No BS Ted. This is Ryan from No Border Sports. He's the BS part. I'm Ted from Ted Talks Ball, the Ted part. And Ryan, how are you doing on this fine Victory Tuesday? It feels like a double Victory Tuesday somehow.
Yeah, I just want to clarify. I am the no BS.
That's true. My bad. Sorry about
no,
that.
you're good. You're good. Yeah, it was a double victory. That Seahawks game last night against the Eagles, and who was it? Who beat somebody beat Dallas too, didn't they? Or no, Dallas beat the Eagles also. That's right, last week. So we've got ourselves a nice.
And then the Bills beat the Eagles this week.
And then the Bills beat the Bills beat
That's
the
Cowboys.
Yeah. So we've got breathing room.
Yeah, because we hold tiebreakers against Detroit. In case we were to lose a game and be tied with Detroit, we would still have the number one seed. So even though we're only technically one game in the lead, feels like two. We only have to win two of our last three games to retain the one seed.
Yep.
And there are starting to be scenarios where we could win even less than that and still retain it. So pretty exciting stuff.
Oh, really? I haven't heard about these scenarios.
Oh, well, let me expound, my good sir.
If I don't know, there's probably people in the chat that probably don't know also.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to guess that could be the case. Yeah, give me 1 second. I'll go through my bookmarks and I'll find it. It shouldn't be too far back. I think it was Lombardi or
and the Seahawks and the Rams are tied as far as schedule goes.
Yeah.
Even though the Rams have beat the Seahawks twice, so if it comes down to both of them, the Rams will get it over the Seahawks, I believe, because of them beating the Seahawks, right?
That I'm not sure. I mean, I know, yeah, they swept them, so that would make sense. So here we go. It was Nick Wagner, tweeted 19 hours ago after the game. He said the 49ers can win two of their final three, or wait. No, that's not the tweet I was looking for. No, that's not the tweet I was looking for. There were some other scenarios that had played out, and maybe I'll have to keep looking because I bookmarked a ton of stuff today.
All right, while you're trying to find that, I'm going to give some shout outs to some people. I can't bring you guys up on the thing right now, but at least I could say what's up. We got Bryant Culp. Go ahead and find that. It's all good. We got Bryant Culp, James Durnall in the house. Shout out to James. We got Don in the house. We got 187 in the house. And CarCast. Make sure to go check out CarCast. He's got himself a little channel. And same with Bryant Culp. He's got himself a great channel too. So make sure to go check out Bryant. He's got multiple shows during the week.
Seems to be have
his channel, but he's
a little bit of controversy in the chat. Got James Renall saying CMC for MVP and 187 saying MV Purdy. And they both each other when asked. You know, when CMC was asked, he said Purdy should be MVP. When Purdy was asked, he said CMC should be.
That's how it should be, though. If you're on the same team, that's how it should be.
I agree. CMC should be MVP.
Well, I can make a case for both. I can make a great case for both.
You can. No, and to be honest, like I named the show today, MV Purdy gains steam because and I should have said for good reason, because I do believe it's for good reason that he's gaining steam in the MVP.
He makes mistakes. We see it on tape, but he makes very few of them. And he makes passes that cause our offense to get a lot of yards or points. He makes those consistently. So I'm, I can't be mad at the guy about anything. He's learning. This is his second year in the NFL. He is learning, and he's doing a great job. His learning curve is a lot better than most. a lot better than most. To be spoke about in the MVP talks as a second year player coming out of college, that's big.
It's incredible.
Yeah. Just to be in the talks, much less like the one with the most chance of getting it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not even throwing that in there. I'm just talking about being in the talks is crazy.
It's wild, no doubt about it. And yeah, I think a good case could be made for both.
Yeah, you could make a great case for both.
I think a good case could be made for Tyreek Hill also.
Because I don't think you could pull off some of those games without both of them doing their best at their position. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't do all this with Sam Darnold at quarterback. You also can't be consistent with drives with, let's say, Elijah Mitchell as running back.
Yeah, that's true. 187 said go watch the Eagles game last year at MV Purdy. Yeah, I mean, but dude, that's Josh Johnson. You know, he's not even really a backup quarterback if we're being serious.
Yeah.
He was our 4th-string QB, so it's not like if Jimmy G or Trey Lance had come in for that game. I will say we got a little taste of Sam Darnold during the Cards game when Purdy got hit in the head.
Didn't move the needle. We saw him afterwards too. Didn't move the needle.
No, it was awful. Just like I've been saying all along, if we have to rely on Sam Darnold, we're in big trouble.
That's why I was like, why are they putting Trey Lance at 3rd string? It didn't make no sense because Sam Darnold isn't a guy who's confident. Whether Trey can throw the ball, this or that, Trey knows what he's looking at on the field, and he gets more done. You know what I mean? He gets more done.
Yeah, I'm gonna just stay out of the conversation completely because I'm trying not to talk about Trey since he's a Cowboy now. But yeah, it baffled me. I definitely didn't think Sam Darnold won the competition.
This is having both these guys and being able to make a good case for both of them being the MVP is just a really great problem to have. Terradome said that last night, and I was like, yeah, you're right. That's totally right. 100% checks out. Like, that is an amazing problem to have if we're sitting here arguing over who's MVP. You know what I'm saying? We got both of them on the team. You know what I'm saying? We can both get a Niners jersey with their name on the back. That's a good problem to have.
There you go. Danielle Thompson in the house.
Danielle.
Lady Sky TV in the house saying, hey. Welcome, Lady Sky. Is that Sky TV like Great Britain Sky TV? I'm imagining it must be. I don't know of any other one. Everybody's just saying hi. Teddy Rockfit. Thanks, Danielle. You're too sweet. But also, you know, if you're in my channel, make sure you get over to Ryan's channel, give him a like and subscribe. If you're in his channel, do the same for me. If you're watching on a browser, try and open 2 tabs. Just make sure you mute one. Gives us more view hours. It really helps us out. So thanks in advance for that. Don saying I must have missed that when he came to play for Purple. I'm not sure who she's talking about. Play for Purple. I mean, obviously that's the Vikings. Pretty. Oh. Calvin Johnson didn't get the MVP. In 1964, 36 more won't make Tyreek an MVP. Well, it's not just the pure yard. Yeah.
Which would you say is a better wide receiver? Which one would you put in the Hall of Fame over the other? Tyreek or Megatron?
I mean, that's a tough one.
It is.
It's a tough one. They're very different.
But they're all game wreckers in their own rights.
Yeah. The difference for me is that the Lions sucked and the Dolphins might be the 2nd or 3rd best team in the AFC after the Ravens.
They could be the 2nd or the 6th best. It depends on who they're playing.
Could be.
Because they do not play up to good opponents.
Bryant
There's
covered
teams
his
that
Sam's
play up to
defense.
good.
It wouldn't
What's
be
up?
it wouldn't be Bryant Culp if he wasn't defending Sam Area. Sam looked good, two for three.
But they only let him throw 3 times at Bryant. You understand that we are throwing at an average of like we throw like 60% passes and only do 40% run plays at the moment. So they only did they run 2 run plays? No, they ran the ball a lot, Bryant. They ran the ball a lot when he was in. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a reason. I think his first pass was almost picked off too, if I remember correctly.
How many rings does Megatron have, Bryant Culp?
Well, I don't think that's fair. I don't
I
think
know
that's
it's
fair.
not. I know it's not. I just said to be a dick.
Because like look at the Seahawks, what's his name? Steve Largent. Steve Largent, hell of a football player. Seahawks never won shit. Still, like the 100 years of football thing, who is Bill Belichick talking to about wide receivers? Steve Largent. Why? Because he was hella good. He's in the Hall of Fame. Why? Talented ass dude on a shitty team. Doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Talent is talent. If you've never seen Steve Largent knock out or tackle a guy who gets an interception, then pick the interception back up, it's one of the greatest plays ever. This guy a year before takes him out for the whole season on a hit. So a year later, they're playing him again, and he comes back, and the dude gets an interception. Steve Largent comes out of the middle of nowhere, hits him just tackles him so hard, he'd like, probably gave him a concussion. And then Steve Largent immediately picks up the ball. It's his again. It's like, it's one of the best moments in football history, I'm telling you. If you don't feel for the guy, he was also a small dude. You know what I mean? He wasn't anything special to look at. You know what I mean? He was kind of like Jerry Rice. He just had work ethic and went hard.
There you go. Got Mariah in the house.
What up? Check us out on her channel later at 6:00. Bring the heat.
There you go. Thanks for joining us, Mariah.
She was at the game.
Steve Largent was amazing, no doubt about it. Just too bad not too many people outside of the Pacific Northwest know much about him. But hey, he's an incredible receiver, wore number 80, just like Jerry Rice. And he was amazing, no doubt about it. Sorry, I keep texting. It keeps messing. Voice to text.
Yeah. I started using that stuff too, and I had to stop because of all that. The talk to text. That was when it first came out.
Give it up for Lent. Danielle was saying she thinks CMC is the MVP.
Yeah, I can make a case for both. That's why I can't pick one. Because I can truly heartfelt make a case for both. I think they should just do both of them be MVPs.
Well, Jerry Rice said he sees a lot of Joe Montana and Brock Purdy.
There is. And everything he listed is everything I see too. He's almost like he reminds me of Joe Burrow.
But then someone on the timeline
A little bit
posted an older post of Jerry Rice saying that Jimmy G was Tom Brady. So, he's not perfect.
Now wait, there's some truth in that though. You saw the quarterback sneak. Nobody can stop him in that quarterback sneak. So
sneaking, sure. But
that is greatest of all time quarterback sneak. How can you say that he doesn't look like Tom Brady when he does it? He's the one that taught him.
That's true. Jason, Captain Niner Massey in the house, saying Talopa faithful. Hello, Faithful and Samoan.
Make sure to go check out Niner Faithful Radio. Jason's got a great show that he does with his buddy. And what's her? I think is it TJ? I believe. And then I can't remember the lady's name, but there's 3 of them on that channel. They do a great show. They do a post game, a halftime, and a pregame.
Nice.
They do shows throughout the week, so make sure to go check them out.
There you go. We got Anshul Shah. Shah in the house.
I got to get back to you, Shaw. I'm sorry.
A long time no see. I definitely haven't been doing a ton of collabs lately with Niners creators, other than my weekly ones. I try and save space during the week for Behind Enemy Lines. But all the Ravens people I talked to, they seemed like they would talk, but so far none have really committed. So we'll see.
Did you talk to Levi from Darwin's Raven?
I have not. No.
Talk to Levi from Darwin's Raven.
All right, will do. Maybe DM me that because I'm sure I'll forget. Just saying hi, hello, or at least retire it. I've seen Megatron's fingers deserve a Super Bowl, but honestly might not be able to wear. His fingers have been broken so many times. I didn't realize that.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Everybody's saying hi. We got Tommy Huxley in the house saying Teddy Grahams. I remember that cereal. Was it cereal or was it? I think it was Teddy Grahams cereal. Back in the day. What's up, Tommy? Tommy Huxley in the house. Everybody's saying hi. I'm not doing YouTube anymore. I'm going to pick it back up after college. There you go. Fair enough. Well, let us know when you're back. Always welcome on with me. Paul Hope in the house from 49ers Faithful UK.
What up, Paul?
Flag. He was just out here for the Bucks game. Got to go have Coswell's Burger with him Tuesday. It was a lot of fun. Big play, Brock, MVP, baby. So he's got Brock as his MVP. We're saying a lot of people have CMC as MVP. A lot of people have Brock as MVP. It's sort of a house divided. So we can see where Paul's allegiances lie, clearly. Welcome, Paul. I already went through that. I said, oh, well, thanks. What's up?
This is the way I see it. CMC is not at the beginning of his career.
Nope.
And Brock Purdy is. Brock Purdy's already playing at the level where they're talking about MVP. So me personally, if one's going to get it right now, I would want it to be CMC.
Me too.
Because I have the faith that Brock Purdy will be in the running in the next couple of years multiple times. You know what I'm saying? Has got a chance to win it again, maybe next year. Just saying. And I'm just saying next year because we might still have some of the same weapons around us for him to execute the same way. Not saying that, the weapons are what helps him, but if you can have somebody who's on the same page with you and knows exactly what's going on, like that helps. That helps. And you get somebody new in off the street, that doesn't necessarily. You know what I mean? You can't find a wide receiver Brock Purdy all just here and there. They just laying around everywhere. You know what I mean? Somebody who can come in last pick of the draft and take over the league essentially. And it's just not laying around.
There you go. Tommy says, let's honor CMC, father of the Arizona Fraudnals, 7 touchdowns this season. And he's one of maybe 5 or 6 guys to have 7 TDs against one team in one season. And if he had got 8, he would have been the only one to have ever had 8. I was hoping he might get that 8th one during the game. But they flashed that graphic during the game, and I was like, ooh, might be worth leaving him in a little extra, try and get that. Usually I'm against that kind of stuff, but I'd love to see him be the only player to ever score 8 TDs against one team in one season.
Did you check out the box score?
Jason, Captain Niners Hushmas, said co-MVP I keep putting the
Yeah.
Smash in there, even though it's gone. It's the ghost of Smash.
I told him last night. I said I'm gonna probably just keep the Smash because like I can't. It's stuck.
It's stuck in my head.
It's stuck.
Totally same with me. The box score. Okay, so
They got 30 more yards than us.
oh,
We had 406 total yards. They had 436 total yards.
huh, interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, we gave up 29 points.
We gave up 234 rushing yards.
That didn't totally surprise me because of Kyler, because of James Conner, because of Armstead being out, because of Hargrave being out. Now, Kalia Davis has a high ankle sprain.
We gave up 230 something rush yards, but they didn't have a single 100-yard rusher.
That's pretty wild.
That is James Conner had 86 yards. Kyler Murray was the third highest rusher with 49 yards. And I was glad that Fred Warner.
Who was in the middle?
I can't remember his name. DeMercado.
Oh, that's right. On that one touchdown run, basically.
Yeah.
Breakaway.
Yeah. He had 4 touches and he had 64 yards. 4 touches, 64 yards. We've got an issue when like when the running back goes out to the edge and everybody crashes to that point, and anytime the running back can like bucket out and get out of that area without getting tackled, it seems like the probability of getting a big gain goes up because everybody's so fast and so quick at swarming to this one point that they don't open it up a little bit to cover a whole bigger area just in case they do get out. And it seems like we've seen it. First started noticing it, I believe it was the Seahawks game. Kenneth Walker had a great big gain on us, and it should have been a stop for loss, right? He should have been, I think, like 3 yards, 4 yards in the backfield. But everybody's over pursuing so much that once I guess the point changes, obviously he gets out. So that's where the point where you're going to, once he gets out, then people miss him because they can't go back because they're not opening up their target range essentially to cover certain coordinates. They are just all going in. Does that make any sense?
Does make sense.
Kind of like kickoff return or kickoff. When they go down the field, you are responsible for a certain part of the field, and you're supposed to stop anybody that comes in that area with the ball. You're not supposed to let them get outside of you. You know what I mean? You're boom. That's kind of, I think, what we need to tackle, how we need to tackle at certain times. Make sure, yeah, you got a couple. If you're the third or fourth guy coming to the party, make sure to just kind of go a little wide, just in case the guy jumps out. You're covering the backside essentially. You got the oops.
Stay in your lane, man.
We're flowing too well. Flowing too well to the ball at times.
Paul says, man, I love CMC. 23 is my guy. Ted was there with me to see him score my first live TD. Yeah, first, second, third, I think fourth. Saw them all. And Paul was wearing a CMC jersey that day too for the Bucks game. So
he's got class.
Almost like, at least a couple of them were to CMC. He was big.
That's crazy because like if you know about the UK faithful, they love themselves some George Kittle. I mean, everybody got a George Kittle.
Club 85.
Yep. Everybody got a Kittle.
Kittle's my favorite player.
It's kind of hard not to be. When you can just be a monster on the line like that, and that's where you get excited. that takes a certain type of person. You know what I mean?
It's a menace to defenses, no doubt about it. And then he can catch, and obviously the yak is nothing to sneeze at either. He's not quite Debo, but he's not far off.
Did you hear Jair Brown talking about his welcome to the NFL moment?
No.
He said that his welcome to the NFL moment was George Kittle. He said something was going on. They were running this play. George comes out and he's, faking like he's going to block him. He says, I knew he wasn't going to block me. But when he kicked it into gear, he's like, I couldn't believe how fast he was. He's like, he doesn't look as fast as he is until he needs to be. And he just turns it on. You know what I mean? You got no way to defend against that. And I think that's the change of speed is so awesome because people will keep up to a certain way, not knowing they have to be able to get into that second gear. And when someone does that, they're not ready and they just gap them.
Yeah, he's incredible. 4.5 speed, great hands, incredible blocker. Like you said, that's not just that he's so good, it's that he loves to block. And it's hard not to love him. He's funny as hell, too. So as far as got a little matchup this week coming up with the Ravens. How you feeling about that, Ryan?
I'm feeling confident. We gave up a lot of rushing yards, which I think has to do with the personnel. But I think we can come together to figure something out. I believe that we had a different scheme drawn up for Lamar Jackson than we were trying to play Kyler. And I think it was because we didn't want to put everything on tape with Kyler to give the Ravens an idea of what we really wanted to do. So I kind of feel we kind of let Kyler do Kyler things because we don't want to let Lamar do Lamar things. So that might be a thing. But also at the same time, we weren't tackling well. And I feel that's going to be an emphasis this week by all the players and the coaching staff. So I'm thinking we're going to have things under control because everyone knows how important this is. Even though we've got ourselves an oops, we got ourselves a little wiggle room, it doesn't matter. We need that wiggle room to the very last game because anything can happen. We got the Rams coming up. They're playing everybody hard. We need to beat these Ravens so we can maybe rest our guys for the Rams, even though I kind of want to beat them over and over again, but who knows? I wouldn't be mad if we lost one, still kept the first seed. Everybody got 2 weeks, good guys got 2 weeks of rest instead of one. You know what I mean? That to me is okay.
Yeah, that would be fine with me.
As long as we get a Super Bowl, right?
Yeah, I like the win streak against the Rams, but yeah, the ring is much more important.
Yes,
about it. If it comes down to either or, and how can you know at this point? All you can know is that you're doing everything you can to be ready to win the Super Bowl.
Right.
Yeah, Kyron Williams was one of the rushing leaders this week, along with CMC and a few others. I was just trying to scroll through and find that. But he is running like a man possessed recently since he's come back from injury. One of the better running backs in the NFL right now, you got to say.
Did you notice that Christian McCaffrey almost had 200 all-purpose yards?
I did notice. Absolutely.
He was like at 190. No, that's wrong.
On his way to hopefully 2,000 all-purpose yards this season.
187. He had 187 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Incredible.
That's what I like. You can make a case for both. You can make a case for both.
Yeah, no, they're both on some elite lists. Purdy's on an elite list of single season passer rating leaders, with Aaron Rodgers twice, Peyton Manning, and Tom Brady. And Brock Purdy would be fourth on that list.
We also have a very complicated system. Everybody knows that, right?
Right.
So he's making good throws in a complex system to the point where he's got one of the best passer ratings. Right? Does that not give him a little bit more of a bump? Think about it. Second year in the league, probably one of the most complex offensive systems in the league. Can we say that?
Yep.
And he has got the highest the QBR, completion percentage, all that stuff. He's oh man, I didn't think about that until just now. It's bad. It's good to have these problems. See, I can make a case for both. I can make a case for both. I can make a good case for both. That's why I think they should both get it.
Co-MVPs.
And like they said, we've got a team full of MVPs. It's true. It's kind of true. Might as well just put the whole team on there because everybody is just freaking outstanding. Our Ambry Thomas, a guy we have, Ambry Thomas, Javon Kinlaw, people we have signed off and wrote off and all this stuff. They're even playing great football. Well, Javon's playing consistent. Ambry's playing great football. You know what I mean? Like, they're doing a great job. Everybody on this team is doing a great job. Except for Sam Darnold.
Bryant's not gonna be happy with that, buddy.
Ooh, I can see the steam popping out the ears right now.
Yeah. Ugly. No, you could definitely make an argument for both. CMC's on a list with like Emmitt Smith and I forget who the third running back is. You know, these guys they're doing things that really hasn't been seen, so or has rarely ever been seen. So it's pretty wild.
Plus, was just another thing about Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold's helping Travarius Ward learn how to throw interceptions. So that might not be a good thing when it comes to Sam Darnold coming in, because if he's getting used to throwing these interceptions, like joking, it's talking crap. But let's talk about that. Pick 6, Travarius Ward. He took what Kyle said to heart. Said you need to be finishing these, you need to be interceptions, you know what I mean, all this good stuff, to the point where Travarius Ward started going out there and hitting the jugs machine. And then he felt to himself, he's like, this isn't good enough. I need something else to give me better experience. So he went to Sam Darnold, which I think is a great move. I really think it's a great move. And shout out to Sam Darnold for being like, hey, homie, I got you. It's not like I'm starting this week. Let me make sure that you, a starter, are primed and ready to go for whatever you need. I totally appreciate that. Like, that's a true fan or a true homie in wrestling. When, let's say, you didn't make it past districts, there was regionals after that, and then there was state. So if you didn't make it past, you would still show up to wrestling practice to help other guys wrestle, because it's no fair if you just stop showing up because you're not in it and then they've got nobody to wrestle against and get ready for their matches. So to me, it's the same kind of thing here. He was willing to put in his time to help another person on the team who was going to go to be able to compete for something, get better at their craft. And it paid off dividends. he hit that thing. He hit the track running, and he was out of his mind. I saw that thing real time, and I saw how quick he intercepted it. Like there was no bobble, no nothing. He caught it and he was gone. And I immediately said, "That's a pick six," because he's going too fast. I didn't think anybody could catch him. I didn't know what it looked like, but he was moving too fast in the right direction.
James Bernal is not worried.
Yeah, he's right here.
I mean, I'm not worried once we get Armstead and Hargrave back, but I think that was part of it. Is those guys usually keep Fred pretty clean.
Yeah, but still, there was times where Fred was not touched by other people, and he still wasn't making the tackle. And it's not just Fred. It was everybody, but Fred did drop some tackles. And he was man enough to speak about it first and foremost that night, which I appreciate him for. Finally, everyone on the team takes ownership of their mistakes. Shot at Jimmy.
Beerly Zach in the house from Beerly Sports. Says CMC is more valuable. That's my point, Zach. That's my point. Zach's a big Jaguars fan, so he's probably in a little bit of mourning since they lost to the Ravens 2 nights ago. But never fear. I think the Jags will still make the playoffs.
Yeah.
Losing to the Ravens. No shame in losing to the Ravens, which is what I'll say if we lose to them. They're a hell of a team. We have statistically the best defense, but if our defense isn't the best, I think it's the Jaguars. Browns, maybe D, if they're healthy, could be in that same conversation.
Yep.
But it's a short list. Cowboys D, as long as you don't have a running back that can run at them. So that I can bring us back to the running backs. I found the list. It was Fox Sports, NFL and Fox on Twitter X. And as I mentioned, Kyren Williams was on the list with CMC. So CMC was 5th at 115 rushing yards. Above CMC was Devin Singletary of the Texans at 121. Ty Chandler of the Vikings, I don't even know who that is, 132 yards. Kyren Williams, number 2 on the list for the week at 152. And leading the week against said Cowboys was James Cook.
I believe Chandler has been the backup in Minnesota for a couple years now.
And I guess they call him
mistaken.
Well, it was the other guy, the little guy was the backup. But yeah, once Dalvin Cook left, I guess maybe he was the backup for the backup. And once the backup became the primary running back, Madison. So yeah, James Cook, I guess they call him Big Game James.
Yep.
Or when he's having a game like that, they call him Jimothy. Like it's like kind of Himothy, Jimothy. So I thought that was kind of cute. I was like, oh, too bad we never called Jimmy G Jimothy. We called him Jimmy Jesus, which is probably worse.
I called him Yimmy Yee.
Yimmy Yee.
Yimmy Yee.
Yee. It reminds me of Rich Kelts. Yeah, I think
shout out to Ritz. Great channel.
Overcompensating for the loss of the starting DTs. That could be true. Yeah,
no, it definitely could be.
There's levels to this.
Well,
Rich loves
think about it. When you can not have to think about having like a guard or a center in your face because you got 2 guys there, and then now they're out. Now you're going to start thinking about some more things that you weren't thinking about before, and it might make you play a little slow. Also, you might have that offensive lineman, like we were talking about, in your face, stopping you from doing your job at times. Like there was
second level,
like the game against the Falcons last year. They got into our linebackers. Then they were just pushing us around. That's why they got so many rush yards, because nobody was tackling until the secondary because the offensive line was on everybody up to the linebackers.
There you go. Yeah, no, it
Up to the
happens.
safeties.
It's a very underrated position, defensive tackle, and a lot of times it doesn't show up on the stat sheet. Where it'll show up is on the linebacker stats. When the linebacker stats suffer, a lot of times that's because of the defensive tackles not doing their job or being out injured in this case. Zach saying we should sell the Jags for pancakes. I think that might be a little overreaction, but I can understand being upset, Zach. Absolutely. Jags would be good if we didn't crap ourselves on the plus out of the 50 every
That's
night.
a great name too, by the way, Beerly. Beerly Sports. Yeah. That's a great name.
Oh, then they have good. They get conversations going out on the timeline. Although there was one today, I didn't respond to this one, but he did one where he said, "Should Joe Flacco be Hall of Fame?" And I was just like, "Come on, you can't." That one, there's no way. I mean, I guess he does have a ring, but I just don't know any Hall of Famers who
rings don't matter.
Journeyman at the end of their career. Well, come on, Eli Manning. You think he gets in without 2 rings?
No, Eli Manning gets in because of his name.
Yeah, I guess, but his regular season stuff just didn't do it for me.
The only 2 times he was ever good in a season, he got a ring.
I mean, we know Foles isn't getting a ring. We know Dilfer didn't get a ring. We know Brad Johnson didn't get a ring. So yeah, there's some truth to that. The one and done guys who got carried. Flacco's a little different though because he played really well in those playoffs and obviously really well against us. So it's not totally ridiculous question like some people were saying, but I definitely thought, if I had responded, I would have said something like, nah.
Do you think Russell Wilson will be a Hall of Fame quarterback?
Not if he keeps up like he has been the last couple of years. This season, he's starting to get back to his old swagger. If he could make some noise in the playoffs, get to another Super Bowl, or ideally get a second ring, I think he could. With 2 rings, I think he gets in. But he not as it stands, I don't think so, because people will all say it was the LOBD, it was beast mode. At least informed fans will say he got carried because that's what I said about him. He never made it back to an NFC championship game without LOBD and prime beast mode. So I don't know. We'll see if they're haters like me. Sugar Knot in the house. Cook only has 3 games this year over 100 rushing. We went off on the boys for show. Yeah. Couldn't have been happier. My buddy from Buffalo is really happy about it. He's a weatherman out there. His name's Pat Hammer. And he was over the moon. I understand, man. So was I. I was like, hey, thanks for beating the Cowboys, man. I said last week, I was like, with my heart, I'm rooting for the Bills, but my head says Cowboys. But I forgot that, I guess the Cowboys are only good in Jerry's world. When they go on the road, they just fall apart, it seems like. Eli was worse than Flacco. Tomato, potato.
No, I agree with this because Flacco was at least consistent all those years.
Yeah.
You could depend on that.
But Eli was a starter for 15, 18 years. It's hard. I know the Giants weren't very good for a lot of that, but
they kept on giving him contracts and people are giving him like watch ads, and I'm like, are you watching the games?
I don't know. I don't know that I agree.
He was the guy doing the citizen, like he was doing.
Flacco was amazing during those playoffs. I will say that, and during our Super Bowl,
he had
4 great games there. I think they were a wild card that year, if I'm not mistaken. Randy Daytona in the house. Hey, Ted and Ryan, I didn't bail on you guys. My schedule changed. I haven't been in 50 streams and haven't done any of my regular chats. No worries, Randy. You're welcome whenever you get here.
Yeah, man.
But we definitely missed you. But don't feel bad. It's
Hey,
fine. Glad
if
you're
you're
here now.
if you're watching the shows on repeat later on, hey, hit us in the comment. Let us know where you're watching us, and we'll give you thanks for we'll
Oh
give
yeah,
you a shout
I
out then.
try to respond to all my comments on YouTube.
I do the ones that are
Oh man, I think this
ones
is
that are
I think this is a shot at me. Border nose ball. Oh, Zach, you're killing me, baby. Killing me. No, that's fine. That's fine. I can handle it. I'm a big boy. I'm a big boy. That's what my mama told me. So what? I mean, I'm assuming we must be favored this week, right?
Yes. I don't know. Let me
I'll get
check.
it. Shouldn't take me long. Here we go. 5.5. Wow. That seems high. At first blush, especially with Hargrave
Well,
and Armstead maybe might be back.
But it is Tuesday. And as it gets closer, it'll either widen or shorten. So
Don says you two are awesome together. Thanks, Don. It's the
Thank
audience
you,
really
Don.
helps too. Great audience makes for great shows.
Don
I
is
always
awesome.
say. Maybe a good time, real quick, to do a commercial break. I have a sponsor called TTG. That's the logo in the corner there. And it's the Travelstead Group. They're a retail and hospitality logistics company. So they do transportation and warehousing for brick and mortar. They do FFE, which is fixed furniture and equipment. They do OSE, which is operating supplies and equipment. They do new store openings, rollouts, relocations, decommissions. From the first mile to the final mile and everywhere in between, Travelstead has you covered. Let them know how they can help you via air, ocean, or land. They do closed loop solutions for retail and hospitality. They have 100% US based support. Nick and Henry are the go-to guys there. And, it's just nice to know there's usually some kind of fine tuning or sometimes snafus with these complex operations. It's good to know that when you call, you're not going to end up in some call center overseas where they have no clue what you or your business do. Check out the link. It's in the description for the show. It's in my YouTube About page. It's in Twitter, X bio, Instagram, and Facebook too. Just click the link, check out the video. Be sure you tell them Ted sent you. Thank you. And thank you, Ryan, for letting me pay the bills. Thank you to the audience. It's important to help keep me going here. So are the subs. Got to quest for 1,000. Got to get there to get that ad revenue going.
So I'm looking here on PFF, and it looks like the only guy who's questionable that they're looking at that they got right now is there's tackle Stanley. Looks like he's questionable.
Yeah, he left the game on Sunday.
Yeah. So that's that. As far as 49ers go, they're saying that Armstead and Hargrave are questionable. Oren Burks is questionable. Lenore is questionable. And Jennings is questionable.
I'm glad Lenore is questionable. All I knew is he left the game with ribs. So, and last time someone left with ribs, it was Ray, and now he's on IR with damn ribs. So that's a little bit scary.
Also, I'm looking at so PFF power ranking stats and whatnot. They've got us at first and Baltimore at second. Defense rank, they've got us at first. Power defense rank, they've got us at first. Them at fifth. Offense, they've got us ranked at first, and then they've got them at eighth. It's also saying we run the ball 46% of the time, and we pass 53% of the time. And it says they run the ball 43% of the time and pass 57% of the time. So that's kind of a good ratio to kind of just look at. Also, the PFF grade between Lamar Jackson and Brock Purdy is 0.2.
Wow, that's pretty.
That's the difference. Brock Purdy's got it by 0.2. He's at 86.9, and Lamar Jackson is at 86.7.
That's crazy. David McNiner in the house. Make sure you check out his channel. He was saying, "What up?" I think there's nothing really football related.
What up?
Yeah, it's
Lamar?
interesting. You talk about Lamar. People are talking about him for MVP now. He's in that conversation.
Yes,
And
that's because everybody else got injured.
yeah, I did my QB ranking, or not my QB, but my Brock Purdy ranking today, and I moved him up from. I had him at 3 to 6 last week, so I moved him up to 2 to 5. And somebody questioned me on the 3 to 6 last week. Questioned me on who's ahead of him, and the 2 to 5, and I said mostly guys with bigger bodies of work, essentially. But I'm not going to list names. It's kind of an imprecise ranking when you're giving a range, and that's for a reason. Although it might starting to tighten up here. If I'm not really ready to call him number one, I might go from 2 to 5 to 2 to 4, 2 to 3, like that, until finally where I go.
There better be a formula for this ranking for as much as being talked about it. Okay, I'm just saying there better be somewhere down there.
It's just a weekly thing.
Chalkboard with a lot of chicken scratch all over it. There must be something like this, and I want to see the picture of it.
David says, Randy Elite Daytona, what's up? Got little Spongy in the house saying, yo.
What up, Spongy?
McNiner says, Ted, where does? So it's interesting, too, that Kurt Bankert, who I've been keeping an eye on his rankings, has Purdy as number one this week. Oh, wow. So he's never been more than one spot ahead of my range. Usually he's been within my range. I think when I had him Purdy at 5 to 8, he had him at 4 or something like that. And so now he's still one ahead of me at 1. Ahead of my range, I should say.
I think he's executing better than any quarterback in the league right now.
He's making great decisions, absolutely.
You know what I mean? When I see other quarterbacks play, I don't see the same. I don't feel the same confidence like I do when he's back there playing. Granted, maybe I don't see as much games of these, but even though I was watching Lamar Jackson last night, or not last night, I was watching Jalen Hurts last night, and I don't have confidence in him from what I've seen the last couple weeks, and he was playing sick, and it didn't look like him. It didn't look like him 2 weeks ago either.
I thought it was interesting. Somebody was doing one of my receipts because last week the Eagles released this footage of Jalen Hurts working on falling to the ground without fumbling.
Yep.
And I quote tweeted it and I said, "Good luck with that." And somebody, I think it was Steven, Don't Bother Me, added a couple of people. He added Breezy and Mike Andrews to my tweet, to the replies of my tweet. And I was thinking I should have quote tweeted it again and just said, well, he fixed the fumbles. Now what are they going to do this week for the interceptions? Because he threw those 2 picks to Julian Love, former Giants safety, now Seahawks.
Bro, that the last one you can't really blame on him. That's a hell of a freaking play. You know what I'm saying?
I blame him for everything. But I appreciate little Spongy saying he's not going to hide like some people.
Good man, that damn DK touchdown in the last game against the Seahawks. I think it was Lenore on coverage, or Travarius Ward. I think it was Lenore, and it's you can't be mad at that. That was just a great play.
Oh yeah, that was.
It's just a great play.
It was great offense beats great defense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Zach from Beerly Sports saying, "Get the red string out." I don't know what do you get that reference, Zach? You may have to clarify because I'm not following. Get the red string out. It says, Ted, why does Moody rank among kickers? I think he means where does Moody rank among kickers? I mean, I've been saying all along, Moody's been perfect since the Vikings game. So, he had the bad miss in Cleveland and, 1 or 2 misses against the Vikings. And he hasn't missed a PAT or a field goal since then. I do feel like, I will say this, McNiner. I do feel like the Niners have eschewed going for long field goals where we could have, like 63, 61-yard field goals to help protect his ego. I think that's why. Maybe.
I feel that too.
Yeah. So that would be my only knock against him. But he's been perfect since the Vikings. I mean, not much you can ask. Only thing you can ask for is that they would look a little better, because some of them were really close to missing. But
So,
come on, there's no pictures on the box score. I always
James
say,
and I were talking the other night about this, and I was saying at the end of the half there, we did this Hail Mary, and I was like, why don't we just set up for a kick? I'd rather kick the ball than to have our wide receivers all run down there and something happen. I don't care about Purdy's stats. That's not a thing. I'm not worried about that. I just think you got more success going for a field goal in that situation than a Hail Mary. It's not like you're trying to win the game at that point. So he was like, yeah, but you don't want you don't want him failing and that to get into his head. And I'm like, yeah, I just think that at a certain point, it's like, even though this is quote unquote in your range, it's so far, it's not a guarantee.
yeah,
And to
but
me,
it's just I think as long as he's perfect, and that just gives them more chance of being perfect when you really need it. I don't know. I sort of feel like that. I kind of agree. I mean, I said it a while back the first time, and then it's happened once or twice since then. I'm like, I think it's the same thing going on. So I'm kind of like, I mean, as long as it doesn't cost us a game, I'm cool with it. I'll say that. But where does he rank among kickers? I mean, all right, so Tucker's still the best, right?
Yeah.
Yes. And the one from Philly, he missed one to lose one of these games recently, right? So he's kind of dropped a little bit. The one from the Bills missed one to miss one of the games. Maybe was it? So I don't know. I'd say Moody's maybe top 10 to top 5-ish would sort of be where I'd put him amongst kickers.
Yeah.
Where would you put him, Ryan?
I don't know. I'm not following kickers, so
there you go. Maya 0724 says Purdy's on another level. In the Cardinals game, they dropped 9, and Purdy still found Kittle for a first down. There you go. Well, welcome, Maya. I don't think I've seen you before, so welcome to the show. Will Spun says, I think Jalen had a hurt knee all year, and I think he's hurt, no pun intended. I think that's definitely true. His knee's been bugging him for a while. Plus, like Ryan said, he had the flu or something.
He did not look, after that touchdown, walking back to the sideline, he did not look enthused. Right? I get it. And to me, I didn't like the fact that they ran him so much in that first drive. They were talking about how they were working to keep his fluids up and try and keep his energy high by keeping, calories and stuff in him and whatnot, right? So then what do you do the first play of the first drive of the game? You use up a lot of his energy. You know what I mean? Having him run and exert that down the field, that to me wasn't smart.
So Zach says always Sunny reference in reference to your QB or reference for your QB rankings. So he said get the red string out.
Oh, an Always Sunny in Philadelphia reference.
There you go. Great show. McNiner says he's stuck in traffic. Forgive the typos. Yep, just don't crash, man. That's the main thing. We'd rather have typos than you rear end somebody.
Yeah.
Anyone talking about the white elephant in the room, Kyle Williams Ronnie Bell? It was interesting when that whole thing happened because the announcers were kind of victims of the moment. They were watching the replay and they saw his elbow hit the ground, but they didn't see anybody touch him. But if you watch the play live, you could clearly see somebody had touched him. That's why he was going down in the first place. And so I was screaming at the TV like, F no, you effing idiot announcer. Like he was touched, and then the ground cannot cause a fumble when you've already been touched and you're going to the ground. The only time it can cause a fumble is if you just fall to the ground for no reason. Then you can obviously fumble away, you're not down when your elbow hits the ground at that point. So,
Well, I heard them trying to say like that because this was the hand that like they were trying to say like he wasn't down yet, and it's like no, there's a whole forearm there, bro.
yeah,
Like
elbow,
like there's
yeah,
a
it
whole
all
forearm,
counts.
and
Wrist, it all counts. Well, maybe not wrist because that's part of the hand, but yeah, anything on the forearm or elbow, you're down.
and usually, it's all how you think about it in the game too, because if he's going down and his hand touches and he's being contacted and the back of his hand's on the ground, that's down, right?
There you go.
Well,
Zach thinks Younghoe Koo is the best in Atlanta. Bryant Culp says Tucker is the best. He knows the special teams. Zach, don't mess with Bryant Culp. He knows special teams. Don't mess with them about Moody. Don't mess with them about
Younghoe Koo's
Darnold,
probably at second or
Wishnowsky.
third or something like that. But Tucker is just like range, consistency. He's got all those. He's got the records. He's got he's Robbie Gould was like our Justin Tucker, just not as long
powerful,
of a leg.
not as powerful. Spongy thinks Moody is top 10, and 10 is a good reference to what Don was talking to because
let's get back to that.
Kyle Williams and Ronnie Bell both wear number 10, or Kyle Williams wore number 10. Ronnie Bell wears number 10.
But it wasn't a fumble, and everybody's mad at him like it was a fumble.
Somebody tweeted out like no 49ers kick returner should ever be allowed to wear 10 again because of Kyle Williams and I guess Ronnie Bell. I said neither should our QBs because I don't want no JG anymore either.
Especially in the playoffs. No kick returners wearing number 10.
Bryant says Jake Moody will shock the world.
And he could. Yeah, he could.
He's got the leg for it. But Ronnie Bell fumbles the ball against the Eagles. He fumbled out of bounds. That's true. I remember that. That was a close one. Yeah, he's definitely not one for ball security, we could say. They need to, not till the playoffs. Not till it really matters. Debo's too valuable. Special teamers are too prone to trying to make a name for themselves, trying to make the roster.
You know why Debo's doing the kick returns, right? Not the punts. Because he can pick and choose which one he wants to bring out.
Interesting.
Think about it. If he's looking at the field and can see what's going on in the field and he thinks it gives him a better advantage, he might just bring that out. If he feels that everything's all locked up and he's not going to get where, he'll just let it touch back.
Interesting.
And in punts, then he doesn't have to be out there and no chance or happenings can really happen, as an accident. So he's kind of safe back there. They're being as risky as Kyle wants to be because it's essentially he's putting the rules on it essentially that make it so it's kind of risk-free.
There you go. Sponge is saying Tucker 1, Koo 2, Koo 2. Sorry, I had to do it. And 3, Elliott from the Eagles, who was definitely in that conversation earlier this season. I think he would have been ahead of Koo because he had made like some incredible number of clutch kicks right up to this one where they lost recently, didn't him? But that happens.
One Eagles game.
Not going to hold one kick against you
from distance and put it down the center of the field goal, and I was like, all right. And it like the whole night it just came out like it wasn't nothing, and it was just steady straight down the middle. I was like, that is a good kicker.
There you go. Dawn just ordered her playoff shirt. Can't wait.
Yeah, go Dawn.
From her husband. He's got good taste, Dawn. He's got 2 times in shirts and in you. There you go. It's Cameron in the house saying hello. Hello, Nancy. Welcome. Good to see you. Debo and Ayuk should return it. Ayuk never really did much as a returner, though. He seemed like he would, but he never really did. Who is doing our punt returns? Is it Ronnie Bell?
It's Ronnie Bell. That's why they were talking about that.
Yeah. All right. Everybody's saying hi, hi, hi. We got Maya saying, "Hey, Feliciano being number one guard in the league last 2 weeks. I don't want. I mean, I've been saying that for more than 2 weeks. That I thought Feliciano was an upgrade over Burford. I'd like to see them platoon because I do think we want to work on Burford for the future. But maybe we can work on them in the camp and off season and early in next season when it's not so critical, or once we've locked up our number one seed this season. But the O line is better with Feliciano on it. There's just no doubt about that.
Yeah.
And I don't even know if it was number one guard. I think he was the highest ranked offensive lineman, period.
I think I saw something, but I'm not sure. I can't confirm. Also, like, some of the plays are getting blown up because our scheme isn't matching up well with the defensive scheme. And what I mean is, like, I was watching, who was it? I think it was JT O'Sullivan. And we were pulling one of our guards, and Brendel had to make a block on a 3 technique, who was not worried about anything and just blowing up the field. So, like, there's no way you're going to reach that. You know what I mean? Like, there's certain times that our scheme, it's nice the way it was a pass play, right? And we're pulling a guard just to make it look like we're running. And it seems like sometimes that can inhibit our offense. And I wonder if we can't at some point just like start cutting certain risky things out of our scheme to kind of make it more bulletproof. Like, maybe we don't always have to pull a guard or something. You know what I mean? Let's just worry about keeping it more sound. And then maybe every once in a while pull a guard in a situation like that to sell it.
There you go. You know, it makes sense. Lower the risk for sure. Don't want people getting injured for no reason. But it doesn't sound like Kyle to me. John Feliciano, highest graded offensive player in the NFL for week 15, 93.5. Not just the highest offensive lineman, highest offensive player per PFF _ 49ers. So, automatic 25-yard line, says Bryant. We got Jess from East Coast Red and Gold. Make sure you check them out tomorrow. Wednesdays at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 Eastern. Everybody's just saying hi, hi, hi. We got Sponge just saying don't sleep on Brandon Aubrey either. You know, he has been kicking really well, the Cowboys kicker.
Yes.
He made a really long one against the Eagles, if I'm not mistaken. Or at least recently I saw him drill a really long one. And I was like, wish Moody could do that. And Moody can do that. It's just I think we're trying to protect him and not expose him to that, is I think what we're doing. Zach says, gotta get ready for the live show. Fun listening. Hope you'll see you there. Yeah, I will make it if I can. I do have a hard stop at 5 p.m., but if we stop early, maybe I'll find a way to watch on my phone, though. Zach, thanks for stopping by. Great to see you. Sorry about your Jags, but we'll have to do another show before too long. You're a great get, and thanks for stopping by. Maya is saying if we lock up the number one seed week 17, would you guys rest the starters in week 18? I would, but it starts to get tougher when you know you got 2 weeks of rest, because there is that rest versus rust. And I don't think Kyle would, especially against Sean McVay.
I think you rest all the guys who've got anything that's kind of big lingering coming in. Yeah. You know what I mean? Those are the guys. Everybody else will play with. I want to keep you guys on the same thing. It's not that, you know, like, if you get banged up in a play, it's not like I got to keep you in there. You know what I mean? Like, we can rotate somebody out. It's not a big thing. We'll just, you know, put the locks on you for a minute. So, yeah, I kind of agree with that. Maybe people that are banged up, that would make some sense.
Why? Oh, Purdy got hit in the head by
Stinger.
Dennis Gardeck. Hit him helmet to helmet, and also hit his shoulder pad and arm to his helmet. Like
He got a stinger.
yeah. But it looked like I swore I thought it was going to be a concussion.
I thought so too.
I think the world thought it. Yeah.
There was no penalty on the flag on the play either.
There wasn't it? Yeah, they gave him a roughing.
Did they?
Oh yeah. Yeah, we got 15 yards.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Because it was a hit to the head of the quarterback. You can't get away with those anymore. I mean, you can, but not.
You can with
not
some
against
quarterbacks.
Brock. Yeah, exactly. Jimmy G.
It's funny because I think there was a play
Jimmy
last
got
night,
clocked a lot and didn't get a lot of those calls, I would say.
and I was like, "Oh, no flag on that." And somebody, I can't remember. They're like, I think it might have been Terradome, and he's like, "No, it was this," and it could have been James, but I was just thinking like, if he was a quarterback, that's a flag. You know what I mean? Like that's a flag if it's a quarterback.
There you go.
Anywhere close.
James Renall has a good solution. Half the game for the stars, treat it kind of like a preseason game. I like that one, James. That way they at least stay in game shape, but cut the risk in half. Definitely.
I don't see that being a thing really, and a lot of these guys probably don't want to give up a loss to the Rams.
Not when we're 9-1 in the last 10.
Yeah.
And I know Kyle doesn't want to give it. He never goes easy on his proteges.
Never.
They always get the worst, all of his best plays and the worst he can dish out.
Well, they have to.
God awful. I thought so too.
When someone knows everything about you, you gotta come up with the most wicked of ways to defeat them because they already know everything you're trying to throw at them.
Yeah, it's got to be all new. Don Dodson said, "So did I." Screamed like crazy. My dog looked at me like, "What the hell just happened, Mom?" Like, what can I do to help? They're like, "Get Purdy back, Rover.
Yeah.
Come on, Rover. Get Purdy back. Good boy. Good boy. Here's a treat."
I was like, these cheap bastards really did that shit. That's what I was thinking in my head. I didn't say that live on stream, but that's what I was thinking in my head.
Yeah. Health over pride. Kyle needs to be the leader. Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you there. But, he definitely does a lot of what the locker room wants. So, be interesting to see. Well, let's hope we have that problem. So, luckily, we don't have to worry about too much right now. But, Ravens look really good. We look really good. Dolphins look pretty good. Bills look pretty good. Chiefs look a little rough.
I don't think the Ravens can keep up. I think they're a good team, but I don't think they're consistent enough to keep up.
I mean, when your best weapon is Isaiah Likely, that makes it difficult. And they've lost more running backs too, I guess. I saw they pulled up some fossil of a running back. I probably didn't.
And then
the bookmark.
Like, look at this. So,
actually,
Lamar's passer rating in a clean pocket is 100. His average passer rating in a clean pocket is 100. Brock Purdy's is 132. And under pressure, Lamar Jackson is 88.1. Brock Purdy is 94.9. So almost like 7 points of difference there. Under pressure. And I'm not saying we put him under pressure. I think we should make him throw and just not let him run. We give him the Jalen Hurts treatment. Press the pocket down slowly.
All right, here we
play.
Yeah, we definitely need the mush rush like we did against Hurts, where we have very controlled rush. Don't go past the quarterback. Keep your outside contained. Keep your gap integrity. Don't worry about getting the sack until you got him all the way surrounded. Then pounce. Once he's completely surrounded, then you can do it within the step in every direction. Then you can go for it.
Yep.
I found the tweet. Adam Schefter said Ravens placed running back Keaton Mitchell on IR and signed running back Melvin Gordon III from their practice squad to the 53-man roster. So I would say that is not a good sign for the Ravens when they're bringing up Melvin Gordon.
Oh, they didn't even have this on that. on the PFF thing, the injury report there.
That was Schefter from a few hours ago.
Oh. This might not be updated then.
There you go. Someone's trying to call me out for being wrong about Brock. I'm like, actually, I wasn't wrong at the time. Brock was not a good deep ball thrower last season. He was terrible in camp, and he's gotten really good this year. Happy to be wrong, but I'm wrong from what I said then till now. But when I said it then, I wasn't wrong.
I don't know if he was terrible last year.
No, he wasn't terrible. I said he was terrible in camp.
Okay. Because last year
he was not good last year.
I don't know. He did all right last year. He was doing better than we've ever seen before in that position, kind of.
Not with deep balls. 10 to 19 yards, sure. 80%, 10 to 19 yards.
He pulled out a couple of great. Remember that?
Yeah, but then you had a bunch of stinkers, including 2 in a row against the Raiders, rolling right, left, throwing back right.
I think he was at about 50%. When you go from not having any to somebody knocking him down about 50% and it opening up the offense.
Oh no, it was better than Jimmy G. I'm just saying, not what you want for the way to unlock this offense like he has this year. He's been way better with the deep ball this year. It's not even close.
Yeah, because he actually tries in his off time.
If the Eagles get rid of Patricia Desai next year, I want to hire Chris Kasarik. Well, he's a D-line coach, Philly. Spongy. He's not. He won't be a DC. He would already be our DC if he was willing to be a DC.
Yep. In fact, he was in on the hiring of Steve Wilkes, and he got a raise.
The Rams were running through the Ravens.
He was in an interview one time, and they were asking him about being a defensive coordinator, and he said, "I've tried many a times to watch defensive backs, and I'll do all that stuff, and I just find myself going back and staring at the defensive line." And he just naturally gravitates for that. He doesn't want any other position. He's in a position right now, they'll pay him good money to do what everybody else is doing, but he's getting paid more. You know what I mean? Like he's okay with that. He did, as long as he can still play or coach D-line and get paid more, that's what he'll do.
Spongy's not buying it. He says we're going to lose him. I mean, that we might. I mean, someone might steal him away to be D-line coach. I don't think so, though. I think he likes it here, Kasarik, but we'll see. Nancy said Ravens look marginal, in my opinion.
Well, she's not wrong. I'm telling. Well, not her, but the Ravens and the Eagles, as of late, have. Before the losses, Eagles before the losses, they didn't seem like they were dominant. It seemed like they were just doing enough to get the wins. And yes, they've got playmakers and this and that, and they're dangerous, but they weren't consistently getting consistent plays out of their big playmakers, and that's why they're not as nasty, I think. And the same thing goes with the Ravens. It seems like they've got this great record, but they've barely gotten out of a couple of them.
I just believe in the Ravens D a lot more than I do the Eagles defense. So
they just barely won against the Rams, 37-31.
The Rams are playing really well right now.
Well, but still, this is what I'm saying. You're talking about playing against the Rams, who don't really have, I would say, the talent that the Baltimore Ravens have.
Well, now they've got talent on offense. They got Stafford, they got Kupp, they got Puka, and they got Kyron Williams. So they have a triple threat, and they have Stafford.
But the Ravens are supposed to be a great defense.
Right.
They've got a lot of things on D there, and for that offense to do that much against that defense, that's saying a lot. That to me represents that defense isn't as good as everybody thinks they are. Maybe they just had an off game.
I think the Rams are a lot better than when we played them.
Because a good defense should neutralize a good offense more than a good offense would neutralize a good defense, right?
I don't know. I guess I'll say yes because I don't want to be confrontational. I mean, and because
you're
I'm
good.
not, I don't feel massively different on it than you. So.
Partial to either one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll
Gotcha.
allow it. Just say I'll allow it. Spongy said never mind about Kasurk. Nancy says thank you, Ryan. So she doesn't think much of the Ravens. Maybe that's why we're favored by 5.5. Tyler McGurk in the house. Do you have more faith in the Niners offense or the defense? What's up, Tyler? Tyler, you missed it earlier. I was talking about you about my rankings and you shaking me down last week for being 3-6, and this week for who did I have ahead of him when I said Purdy was 2-5. You want to go first, Ryan, or I'll answer this first.
Okay.
I have more faith in the Niners offense right now. Now with Armstead and Hargrave back, and Lenore back on defense, it gets a little tougher. But honestly, if Feliciano is in instead of Burford, then I think even healthy, I give the offense a little edge over the defense. If it's Burford, it's more of a coin flip. Maybe even I'd go with defense healthy.
Okay. So the defense gave up probably one of their worst. I think their worst. No, it's not their worst game of the season. It's close to. But I got to go with the defense because they've been there for years. And I have a feeling that Travarius Ward getting that pick 6, it's going to kind of open up the floodgates a little bit. Like everybody else is going to feel like they need one. And whether we get more pick 6s, which I think we might get more, I think we'll get more interceptions.
You get a pick 6.
Yeah.
Oprah of the 49ers defense.
Well, think about it.
Everyone gets a pick 6.
Travarius Ward came out and he gave his blueprint. I stayed after practice and I caught balls with Sam Darnold. So now, how many people are going to be asking Sam to stay after practice and throw balls with them?
Throw me some picks, Sammy.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
There's one thing he's good at. It's throwing picks.
Well, they're talking. What he said is that he gets the quarterbacks can throw a harder ball, so it's more realistic for him than the Jugs machine.
Answer in the comments. Who do you have more faith in, Tyler?
Yes,
I think I know, but I'll be curious to see. Chris Osorno in the house says Ravens are going to get their A's kicked. No Ravens run game means Lamar will get cooked. But just because they don't have running backs you've heard of doesn't mean they won't have a run game, I would say, knowing the Ravens. But yeah, Don did bring up a good point about about Melvin Gordon being cut from Denver because he fumbled too much. So I do recall that. Got Bebop Jones in the house. Bebop. Saying sup, faithful, coming to us from Bethlehem, PA. Must be a lot of sad people around there, Bebop. I guess Bethlehem's closer to Pittsburgh. But Pittsburgh lost too, right? So they're probably sad as well. The whole state of Pennsylvania, a little bit of mourning. But when you're kind of Mitch Trubisky, your chances are pretty slim.
People are going after Tomlin. And
oh man, no, Tomlin, he's got to have the horses. They were doing fine with Kenny Pickett. They were going to make the playoffs with Kenny Pickett, but then he got injured. Randy, never fear, I is here. Yay, Randy. He says offense. Tyler says the offense. That's what I thought. I think it's the first time since the Niners are a playoff team. Garcia, I would say that. Yeah. I mean, because even when we had Cap, as electric as he was, it was still the D that was the strength of the team. Willis and Bowman and Cowboy, and Goldson and
But at the same time, it was them
Hittner,
together.
Dante Hittner.
You knew that the defense was going to have everything on lock, and you knew Kaepernick was just going to run down the field on people.
Yeah.
And then throw a long bomb here and there to
lasers with the touch of an
Anquan
iron
Boldin
worker.
was going to catch a slant on 3rd and short, and he was just going to wreck somebody.
He was Debo before
You know what I
there
mean?
was a Debo.
Oh my
He's
God,
not
I love
Debo,
Anquan
but
Boldin.
he's pretty close.
He was my
Boldin was damn
favorite
tough.
wide receiver on the team at the time. Love
Yeah, me
Anquan
too. I
Boldin.
never cared for Crabtree after the holdout.
Little bitch.
I don't want to bring it up. At work today, I felt bad for him. LOL. Psych. I taught my son that when we get home, he likes to unbuckle himself from his car seat and do the garage door opener so we can go inside. And the other day I was like, he's like, what are you doing? I'm like, it's called a psych. And he's like, oh, he said, Daddy, do the psych again. Do the psych. I go, no, son, it can't be expected. It's got to be a surprise psych. He's like, oh, okay. Anyway, it's good stuff. Psych. See here. Randy says if we do with the number one offense this time, Kyle has had that. It's the first time. Yeah, it is the first time. We were number 2 in 2019, and we were number 2 rushing team, number 2 overall offense. No, number 2 rushing team and number 2 defense. Yeah, so were we the number 2 offense too after the Ravens? I know the Ravens were the number 1 rushing team. Were they the number 1 offense too? I'm forgetting that part. But it's true. We have not had the number 1 offense along with a great defense.
Does this mean that we've never had somebody who was smart enough to execute the offense?
I don't think we had the number 1 offense with Jeff Garcia either. It was good, but was it ever number 1? I don't think so. It might be going back to Steve Young since we had somebody had a number 1 offense. Steve Young. Might be time to start getting those that Brock Purdy jersey. I said I was going to wait for the Super Bowl, but he's playing so well. I said if he plays like this and we don't win it all, I'm not going to hold him accountable. I'll go ahead and switch the jersey, even if we don't win it all, because he's balling. Absolutely. And the good news is, like, I heard they're all up to double XL, but like, hey, I could do a triple X, because then this is a double X, but it's a little tight, and triple X would give me room maybe to put a hoodie or something on a cold day at the game. It's good to have a jersey at least one size too big, so you can have some layers also underneath it,
be out and around,
windbreaker or whatever, so you don't cover up your numbers to stay dry.
In Washington, we just got rained on.
It will not be similar to the Cards game, Randy. We will not score 45 on the Ravens defense. I'm sorry. I'm just going to say no. I wish. That'd be great. I would love it. But I don't think that's super realistic.
The Cardinals got 436 yards? Yeah.
Nancy says, really? The jersey? We shall see. Crazier things have happened.
Oh, hey, Ted, it's 5:01.
Okay, yeah, I definitely got to bounce here pretty quick. I remember hearing how the Niners offense reminiscent of 2000 Patriots offense with a way better defense. There you go. Tyler says, what are your thoughts on the analysts to judge a QB position these days? It seems like if you get the ball out on time, it's held against you. It's why he's able to get the ball out on time, because of the play design, the play calls, the weapons.
So everybody in sports who ever commented on talent in the draft has missed Brock Purdy. Nobody was screaming or pounding the table for a Brock Purdy.
No.
And this is they have to find some reason why they were right. I heard, who was it? I think it's our our San Francisco 49ers, Raj's channel, he put out a clip of somebody talking about, he's like, the media, me included, we were wrong. And it takes us a while to admit we're wrong. And that's what we were. We were wrong. So this is what you're getting right now. You're getting people who have to figure out some way to try and make themselves seem like they were right when they were wrong. So it's great. You know why? Because all they're doing is giving Brock Purdy and the 49ers a shit ton of fuel.
There you go. All these people are on voice to text. It looks like. I think he meant doo-doo, though, Randy. I think you meant it. There you go. Yeah. The experts are terrified of it, I'm sure. Sponge was saying, oh, I see. Are doing do squad. So he meant doo-doo, but it didn't give him doo-doo. It gave him doing do. Chris Osorno's got 45-10. Crazy. I hope you're right. I would love it. Nothing would make me happier. I don't see it.
I don't see that either.
Sponge saying it's scary if y'all get Brendan Rice next year, Jerry's son. Frank Gore's son's coming out, and so is the most famous one, though, is
Marvin Harrison Jr.
Yes, Marvin Harrison, but we won't be in the top 5. So.
I don't know if Marvin Harrison Jr. is our type of guy, though.
Oh, really doesn't block?
Well, like we're looking for the captain.
Yeah.
We're looking for the guy who's doing all that. I don't know if Marvin, I don't know. I just think of Marvin Harrison Sr. and like the troubled some stuff around that. And I just wonder how he was raised. You know what I mean? If he's still kind of like, is he going to come out like what's that one basketball player, John Morant or whatever?
Oh, jeez.
That, I'd rather stick with a guy like Jerry Rice's son who knows what it takes to be great, or like a Frank Gore's son who knows what it takes to be great and who's humble.
There you go.
And I'd love to cry to a video of Frank Gore calling his son drafting him. You know what I'm saying? I would love to cry to that any day.
Yeah, there's that connection between
I'm just saying.
Our alumni.
He's there.
Interesting. Brendan Rice. Okay. Maya says Purdy about to get paid in 2025. I hope Parag is doing calculations now. Absolutely. It's going to be a lot of scratch. It's going to be like 60 mil by then. Ravens have beaten scrubs. Emmanuel Acho said Hurts is a fraud.
I wouldn't go that far.
I think Sponge nailed it with the bad knee, and you nailed it with the flu or COVID or whatever he had. That
I think he's a little overrated, but I don't think he's a fraud whatsoever. I think that when you get him stuck in the pocket and he becomes one-dimensional, I think there's definitely room for improvement in his pass game. Now, does that mean he's a fraud? No, because very rarely are teams able to do that to him. The only reason why we were able to suffocate him like that is because we got a really good defensive line that can make the offensive line do that. You know what I mean? The offensive line wasn't trying to let them do that. You know what I mean? They want to create a pocket in some way, but they don't want to constrict. So that was us just manhandling them into a constricted mode. So like, there's room for improvement. Like if he could hit some of the passes that he's missing, he'd be great.
There you go.
He'd be one of the best in the league, especially with his feet. He seems like he's a smart dude. Looks like a great leader to me.
There you go. Spongy says Jeremiah Trotter Jr. as well. I believe he's a linebacker. I think the senior Trotter was a linebacker. Ravens' opponent's not strong. Randy's
the only nepotism babies I'm worried about drafting is ours.
There you go. Hurts didn't deserve that contract. Maybe not. It was pretty big. Not that good. All right. Fair enough. Well, Ryan, tell us about what you have going on. You said you got something tonight. Well, it's the rest of the week.
In 53 minutes, you'll catch me on 49er Faithful Lee podcast with Mariah and Bashar from 49er Minded. And we'll be bringing the heat for you. And then Wednesday, you'll catch me on the Rivalry with Joe Stevens at 6 o'clock. Thursday, I'll be streaming the game. And then Friday night, I'll see what's going on. I should be on the Friday night show this Friday. I don't know. We'll see what happens. There's some things going on. So yeah, my work days might be changing. So I gotta see what's going on.
I'll keep us posted.
Yep.
I've got First and Ted with Aaron tomorrow at 3:30 Pacific, 6:30 Eastern. Got Faithful Dogs on Thursday at 2, 5 p.m. Eastern. And then Friday at 3, Ball with Bash and Ted, 6 p.m. Eastern. And then next week is Christmas week. I may actually I'm probably going to miss the game because we're arriving in the islands right around kickoff. And I don't think we'll be able to stop and just watch it. We're going to be renting cars and getting groceries and getting checked in and all that good stuff. So also, I will stream some shows while I'm away, but I'm gone for Christmas and New Year's. So it might not be back to a regular schedule for me till closer to the 5th of January, which is that Friday, I believe. So really the following Monday, essentially. We shall see. I will probably do some shows. I just won't be able to commit to them far in advance, unfortunately. As real life trumps streaming, as it should.
All right.
Well, thanks, Ryan, for everything. Thanks to everyone who stopped by in the audience. It was awesome. Again, if you're on my channel, make sure you get over to No Border Sports. Give Ryan a like and subscribe. If you're on Ryan's channel, please do the same for me. Hop over to TED Talks Ball, give me a like and subscribe. And otherwise, I'll just say peace and go Niners.
Go Niners.